everyone, and welcome to your week 1 yoga class. What I want to do in this first yoga class is pretty much just stretch you out. I want to spend about 30 minutes opening up through your chest, your hips, your hamstrings, your shoulders, and your quadriceps as well, because I know a lot of y'all are sore from the leg day workout. A lot of you are sore from the upper body and an ab workout. So chances are we're gonna hit whatever it is that you need today. So what I'm gonna have you do is start in a comfortable seated position. That could be cross-legged like me, or that could be sitting hips to heels. If you have really tight hips, you could always elevate your hips on a little pillow or a yoga block if you have one. I'm gonna sit on this little pillow because it's really comfortable. And as you find this seated position, go ahead and let your hands rest on your knees or in your lap. And I want you to focus on sitting up nice and tall. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down just a couple times. And then allow the shoulder blades to settle down the back away from the ears. Allow your eyes to then gently close, and we're going to spend a few moments connecting to our breath. So at first, just noticing your breath without changing it or manipulating it in any way. And then with this awareness of your breath, start to breathe more slowly and more full. And then keeping your spine nice and long and your breath steady, allow the chin to dip down towards the chest. Feel the back of your neck grow a little bit longer. Perhaps you even feel a stretch in between the shoulder blades and your upper back. And then roll the right ear towards the right shoulder. Allow the left side of your neck to stretch long. And roll back through center, switching sides, left ear towards the left shoulder. Feeling now the stretch all along the right side of your neck. Roll the chin back towards the chest one more time. And while you're here, if you're working with a healthy neck and upper back, take your hands at the base of your skull. Interlace your fingers and then allow your elbows to fall forward. So you're gently tugging forward on the head, feeling an even deeper stretch here. And if your fingers are interlaced, gently release them. Take the hands back to the lap. Bring your head back to a neutral position, eyes gently open. And let's come forward into a tabletop position. So coming onto all fours. If your knees get sore when you are on all fours, you can always pad your knees with a blanket or an extra yoga mat. Make sure your shoulders are over your wrists and your hips are right above the knees. And with the breath in, I want to have you come into a cow position. So the belly dips, the hips tilt up, and the gaze goes up. Then exhale, round into cat. Take the chin towards the chest, arch the mid-back towards the ceiling.
and really push the earth away from you here. Inhale back into cow, hips and heart move up. Exhale, round into cat, empty the lungs, squeeze the abs. 2 more times, inhale into cow. Exhale, round into cat. Last one, inhale into cow. And then exhale, round into cat. Come back into a neutral spine. Keep your hips over your knees. And then walk your arms out in front of you as you come into puppy pose. So it's a very big chest opener here. If it is too intense, what I want you to do is bend one of your elbows and rest your forehead on that forearm. I'll tell you when we're halfway through so you can switch sides. Feel the softening across the chest, into the front heart space. If one of your elbows is bent, please switch sides. Just notice if you're resisting this stretch and allow your body to melt a little bit deeper into it. And with your next inhale, walk yourself back up into tabletop. Shifting that stretch now to our upper back. As you breathe in, reach your right arm up towards the ceiling and look up at the thumb. As you exhale, thread the needle, slide the back of your right hand across your mat, and then lower your right ear or the right side of your head down to the ground. Your left elbow is stacked over the left wrist, and there's a 90-degree bend there. Work to keep the weight even on the knees. And continue to draw the navel in towards the spine. Your next inhale, unwind. We're going to open back up. Reach the fingertips towards the ceiling. Exhale, come back down to all fours. And second side, left arm flies out and up. Look at the thumb. Exhale, thread the needle. Slide the hand across your mat. Lower the left ear down. Then take your right elbow wide, wrist underneath the elbow, and twist. Steady breath, full breath, relaxed and mindful breath. As you breathe in, unwind again. Open across the chest as you reach towards the ceiling. Exhale, release back down to all fours. Now this time I'm going to have you walk your hands a little bit farther forward as we come into our first downward facing dog. Curl the toes under behind you and then lift your hips up and then back. So before you really settle into your downward facing dog, I want you to come forward into plank. You've done a lot of planks this week, I know. Just make sure your shoulders are over your wrists and your legs are strong behind you. From this position of hands and feet, now send the hips up and back again. If you feel a strong tug in the back of the legs, feel free to take a soft bend in the knees and work to press the chest towards the thighs. Wherever you are, feel free to pedal out the feet, add a little bit of movement. You could even shift back into plank and then back into downward dog, whatever feels good to you. Right? The more familiar you get with your body, the more you're going to know what it needs. But even then, everything changes from day to day. So just take note. Notice how you're feeling today on your mat. Take 3 more breaths in your downward facing dog. And if you notice that all of the weight is in your shoulders, I want you to really tilt those hips up. Try to put some of the weight in the lower half of your body. With your next inhalation, take your gaze forward between the hands. Bend the knees a lot. Then walk or jump your feet to meet your hands at the top of your space. As you inhale, lift halfway. Spine is long, back is flat, and core is engaged. Exhale, release back down into a forward fold. Again, option to keep the knees nice and bent, but your head and your neck are relaxed here. I'd like you to either take ragdoll arms, so wrapping the arms up, or chest expansion, fingers interlaced behind the body, and the knuckles reach up and away. Make sure the weight is forward in the feet. It's in the balls of the toes. Your heels are connected to the mat, but there's not a lot of pressure there. The hips are rising towards the ceiling. Last 3 breaths. Then lower your fingertips towards the ground. As you breathe in, reverse swan dive. So reach your arms around and up. Palms come to touch overhead. As you exhale, I want you to reach over to the right as the hips press to the left. Feel a nice big stretch all along the left side of the body. Inhale back to center. Exhale, switch. Move over to the left as the hips move to the right. Squeeze the biceps in towards the ears. Inhale, come back to center. And as you exhale, forward fold. Swan dive forward, leading with the heart, hinging at the hips. Head is down last. Inhale, take a halfway lift. Crown forward, hips back. Exhale is plank. Plant the hands. Walk or jump your feet back. Plank, lower all the way down to the ground. You can always use your knees for support. Once you're down, point the toes back. Push the tops of the feet down. Spread your collarbones wide, and as you breathe in, cobra. Peel your chin and your chest and your shoulders up. Draw the elbows in. Pull the low belly in. Keep pressing the feet down. Think grow long and then get light. Breath in. Exhale, gently lower. Curl your toes under behind you. Activate your quadriceps so kneecaps lift. Low belly draws in again, shoulders are on the back. Inhale, push to tabletop or plank. Exhale back into downward facing dog. So we're going to do that about 3 times. So with our breath, it's our sun salutation. Take an inhale here. Exhale to the top. Walk, step, or jump. Inhale and lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Head is headed. Inhale, mountain, arms, stretch and reach up, palms touch. Exhale, reach to the right as the hips press to the left. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, switch. Reach to the left as the hips move right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, swan dive forward. Lead with the heart. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, plank. Plant the hands, step or jump back. Lower all the way to the ground. Use the knees if you'd like. Point the toes back and then inhale into cobra. Keep the shoulders away from your ears. Exhale, release down. Curl the toes, quads on strong. Inhale, tabletop or plank. Exhale back, downward facing dog. One more time, take a breath in here. To the top as you exhale, walk or jump. Inhale and lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain, stretch and reach up, palms touch. Exhale, reach to the right, hips move left. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, switch over to the left, hips move right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, high plank, step or float back. Lower all the way down to the ground. Point your toes back and then inhale into cobra, light and long. Exhale, gently release. Toes curl, quads strong. Inhale, tabletop or plank. Exhale, back, downward dog. Great work, everyone. Now, to get into the stretch. Inhale and reach your right leg towards the sky. And then as you exhale, bend the right knee, open the hips up. Try and point your right knee towards the ceiling. Let your left heel sink deeper. Square your right shoulder back down to the ground. Press it back down. Now inhale, come back to a straight leg and squared hips. On your exhale breath, step through to a lunge. So you're going to need to squeeze the knee towards the chest. That's a big long step, so get there however you can. And then once you do, soften through the hips, pull the heart forward. If you're super tight, if the ground seems really far away from you, you could have a couple books on either side of this foot, or if you have yoga blocks at your dispense, grab a couple yoga blocks, bring the ground up to you. Either way, melt through the hips and take a breath in. Exhale, straighten the front leg, pull the hips back, stretch the back of the right leg, the hamstring. Inhale forward, back into lunge. Exhale, hips back and up, forehead to shin. One more time. Inhale, sink to the lunge. Exhale, draw the hips up and back. And we're going to hold here for a few breaths. Relax the head. Maybe shake it out. Yes, no, maybe. Draw your right outer hip back. Left outer hip forward. And keep pushing through your right big toe mound. As you inhale, come back into a lunge. Lower your left knee down. Again, pad your knee if you need to. And with the breath in, bring the arms up and overhead. This is called crescent moon. Biceps are by the ears, sternum lifts towards the ceiling, tailbone shoots towards the ground. You'll feel a big stretch through the left quadricep, the left hip flexor. And take one more breath in here. On your exhale, half split or Ardha Hanuman. Flex your right toes and pull your hips back. So you can come all the way back, hips to heel, or you can have your hips stacked over that back knee. Whatever gives you the best stretch through this right hamstring is what you should do. This is another great place to have a couple books or blocks on either side of your right foot. Very important to make sure the toes are pulling back towards you and you're digging this heel down, your right heel down. With those items in place, then you can work on depth. You may not need to work on depth. Go to wherever you feel the sensation and breathe. Last 2 breaths here. Inhale, come forward into a lunge. So adjust your feet as needed. Plant the front foot, curl the back toes, lift the back knee. Make sure your hands are firmly planted and step back into downward facing dog. We'll repeat that sequence on the left. Inhale, left leg reaches up and back. Exhale, bend the knee, let the hip roll open, point the knee to the ceiling. Sink the right heel down, but then press your left shoulder back down so your shoulders are squared. Inhale, back to a straight leg, level hips. Exhale for lunge, big step through, help the foot forward as needed. Grab your blocks or your books if you need to bring the ground up, and then take a breath in, soften through the hips, pull the chest forward. Exhale, straighten the front leg, pull your hips up and back as you bow towards the shin. Inhale to lunge, sink forward, sink down. Exhale to pyramid, draw back, soften. Last one, then we'll hold. Inhale for the lunge. Exhale, draw your hips up and back, and then breathe. Remember, left hip pulls back here, right hip pulls forward. We always want to square our hips towards the ground, unless I say otherwise. Push your left big toe mound forward and down into the ground. With your next inhale, return back to your lunge. Set the right knee down. Back foot goes flat, or you could keep the toes curled. This is really personal preference. Arms come up, crescent moon. Arching up, arching back, sitting deep, but lifting and rising as well. Engage the right glute. Scissor the inner thigh. So that means left hip back, right hip forward. Shoulders away from the ears in case I didn't say that yet. Big stretch through right hip flexor. One more breath in. And on your exhale, half split, Ardha Hanuman. Draw the hips back, either keeping the hips stacked over the right knee or coming all the way back. I'll do it this way on this side. But whatever you did on the first side, you should do on this side. But just for demonstration's sake here. Dig your left heel down and flex your left toes back. Soften over the front leg wherever you are. And just really being okay with slowing down when you practice this class. Know that you're getting just as much out of this, maybe even more, than those really challenging go, get 'em workouts. As you breathe in, come back into your lunge. Plant the hands, lift the back knee, step back into your downward facing dog. And coming back to that right leg. Inhale, right leg lifts up. Exhale, bend the knee and roll the hip open again. Just get familiar with this action. Inhale, come back to a straight leg and a squared hip. As you exhale, step wide, wide runner's lunge. So right foot goes outside of the right hand. We're going to lower that back knee immediately. Again, pad it if you need to. Left hand will stay down on the mat or on your block or a book. Let's twist this right arm up. I'm going to roll my wrist out a little bit. It's kind of nice after the planks and the downward facing dogs. Make a fist, spread the fingers. And then just settle into the twist. Open through the chest. Feel the right ribs rolling away from the right inner thigh. And pull the hips towards each other. Left hip back, right hip forward. Or excuse me, reverse that. Left hip forward, right hip back. We're going to unwind from this twist, but keep the right foot forward. And I'm going to have you either stay here, focusing on that stretch through the inner thigh and the groin, or work towards lowering down onto your forearms. This would be a great place to have a block or a book handy, or this little pillow that I've got, just to bring the ground up to you. So if you need a little bit more stretch, but you can't come all the way down, it's a nice middle ground. Work to send the breath wherever you're feeling the tension and the tightness. And as you breathe in, start to draw the hands back under the shoulders. Curl the left toes under and lift the left knee up. We're going to go back into that three-legged downward facing dog. So extend your right leg up. Now here comes a change. Exhale to pigeon pose. Right knee goes towards the right wrist. Left leg is going to slide back behind you. Work to move this right heel just a little bit farther away from your left hip bone. Before you come down and soften into stretch, I want you to scissor those inner thighs again. So left hip forward, right hip back, hug in, and then allow yourself to fold forward. Now, there's probably a couple of you out there that can't do this pose because of the way it makes your knee or your ankle or your hip feel. If you are one of those people, I'm going to have you come onto your back and do a figure four stretch with the right ankle crossed over the left knee. And you can interlace your fingers behind the left hamstring. So this is where you're going to go whenever I go into pigeon. I'm going to come back to meet my friends in the other pigeon. We'll take about 5 more breaths here. And of course, if you're doing this, at home, like all of you are, if you want to stay here longer, feel free. But in order for me to stay on schedule, I'm going to move us back in a down dog. So plant your hands, curl the back toes, and just step back in a downward dog. And it might feel really good to add some movement here, pedaling, bending, shifting, just getting some energy and life back into the right hip, knee, and ankle. Switching sides, we inhale, lift the left leg up. Exhale, bend the knee, open through the hips, point the knee to the ceiling. Inhale, come back to straight leg. Exhale, wide runner's lunge, left foot outside of the left hand. Once you get here, set the right knee down. Right hand stays down your mat or your block. And then we're going to twist open. Left arm reaches to the ceiling. And again, I'm going to add a little movement in my wrist. Spread the fingers, make a fist. Spread the fingers, make a fist. And then just focus on the twist. Opening across the chest. Sinking into the hips. But then also hugging in. And gently unwind from the twist. Work a little bit lower if you can. If you've got that flexibility, if you've got the space, all the way down to the mat, or elbows on a block, book, or pillow. If you are feeling tight, remember to be patient with your body, compassionate. After all, it just did a lot of work for you this week. Now slowly lift yourself back up to your hands. Plant the hands under the shoulders, curl the back toes, lift the back knee, down dog. Actually, three-legged dog. Inhale, left leg sweeps to the sky. Exhale for pigeon, left knee towards the left wrist. Right leg shimmies back, knee points down, toes point back. Walk your hands back so you can scissor the thighs. Left hip back, right hip forward, rise out of the waist. And then allow yourself to come down. So again, if you need to modify, flip over to your back. Here's what I want you to look out for as well. Don't let your body just lean over to the left, okay? You need to stay squared over that front leg. If that's causing you discomfort, go ahead and flip onto your back, or you can place a pillow underneath that left hip and give yourself a little bit of support. That actually feels fabulous. So as we're going through these classes, if any questions come up, please just shoot me a message or put something in the Facebook group. Last 4 breaths here. As you breathe in, start to walk yourself back up. If you were on your back, flip over. We're going to come into our last downward facing dog. So curl the back toes, step back, add any little movements that you need to, pedaling, bending, shifting. And before we really come down to surrender, please inhale, shift forward into plank. Exhale, come all the way down to the ground. One last stretch for those shoulders. Take your right arm out to the side like a T. Your palm is facing down. Left hand is planted underneath the left shoulder, maybe a little bit wider. Bend your left knee, and you're going to roll to the right. So push into your left hand to roll to the right. Plant the left foot behind the right leg. Let your head relax down. So as you're rolling to the right, your right shoulder is pressing down into the mat, down into the ground. Inhale, come back to center. We're going to switch sides. So left arm's going to go out to the T. Right hand plants. Right knee bends. Roll over to the left. And you can relax your head down. You might want to use that pillow again. Or block. Block works just great. Remember, as much as you're rolling to the left, you've got to also press the head of that left arm bone into the ground. In our yoga practice, we're always working with these equal and opposite forces. And as you breathe in, let's come back to center, please. Bring both hands underneath the shoulders. This time press to tabletop. And we're going to come through to a seated position. And actually, once you are seated, extend your legs. Go ahead and lay back on your mat. We'll end with a supine twist. Please draw the right knee into the body, but right outside of your rib cage. Interlace your fingers below the knee, onto the shin, and pull down. Feel your biceps turn on. Low back is pressing down. With your left hand, guide the right knee across the body, and your right arm goes out to the side in a T or a goalpost position. You can be looking up towards the ceiling or out to the right. Lengthen the right side. The right hip is pulling away from the right armpit. Big, full, steady breaths. As you inhale, come back to center. Then switch out the legs. Right leg goes long. Left knee hugs in. Interlace the fingers on the shin right below the knee. Remember, you're outside the rib cage. You can pull down. You've got the space to pull down. Biceps turn on. And then with your right hand, guide the left leg across your body. Left arm out to the side. Gaze up or out to the left. Again, going for that length. Left hip pulling away from the left armpit. And as you inhale, come back to center. Draw the right knee in to meet the left. And we're going to come into happy baby pose. Soles of the feet towards the ceiling. Grab your inner arches or the outer edges of your feet. If those body parts are too far away, grab your ankles or your calves, or even the back of the legs here, the hamstrings. Because what's more important than where you're holding on is what your low back is doing. So I want you to press your lower back down into the ground. Take out any space between your spine and the mat. So you're going to, like a pancake out of your torso. With whatever you're holding on to, pull down so the arm bones then plug into the shoulder socket. So your upper back is pressing down, your lower back is pressing down, your mid back is pressing down. And you can stay here or you can rock side to side. You could even straighten out the legs a little bit, get more of a hamstring stretch. And if you are rocking around, just pause in the middle. And then release your grip and curl into a little ball. Wrap your arms around the legs. Bring the forehead towards the knees. Squeeze. Then relax all the way down into our last pose together. Shavasana, or corpse pose. So your arms are going to rest by your sides. Palms spin to the sky. And feet just flop open. Let the tongue release away from the roof of the mouth and your eyes gently close. Return back to a natural breath and allow yourself to move into stillness. Just gently bring an awareness back into your breath. Feeling the rise and fall of the belly with each inhale and each exhale. And feel free to add in movement of your fingers or your toes or your wrists, your ankles. And then gently roll to one side. Find a supported fetal position as you cradle your head in your arms and let the knees just rest together. Give yourself this one last moment here to just be. And as you're ready, please press yourself back up to seated, just as we began. And that nice, comfortable seat, but this time we're gonna bring our hands to heart center. Close your eyes for just one more moment, allowing your focus to be inward. Allowing everything else to just be put on a shelf for one last breath here. Let's take an inhale together. And on your exhale, please bow forward. Namaste.